want to ask you something, and I want you to actually think about it before you answer. How many hours have you spent this week looking at other people's content, scrolling, taking notes, screenshotting ideas, and then sitting down to post something and coming up completely empty? Or worse, posting something that felt so not you that you kind of wanted to delete it, because that was me for years. And the thing I kept telling myself was that I just needed to find the right strategy, formula, the right person to follow. And I was following my upline, other leaders on the team, certain gurus I'd found online, and I had so many tabs open, so many saved posts and courses that I'd purchased, and I was still producing content that was boring, vanilla, and completely forgettable. And here's what I eventually figured out. The content wasn't necessarily the problem. The problem was that I didn't have any direction. And without that, no amount of strategy or scrolling or saving other people's posts was going to fix it. And so that's what today is about. So here's what my content planning actually looked like for a really long time. I would sit down to create something, open Instagram, tell myself I was just looking for inspiration, and then 2 hours later, I had 17 tabs open, a notes app full of ideas that weren't my own, and 0 written posts. And I'd look at what my upline was posting, or what the top leaders in our company were posting, what a coach here or there was doing, and I'd try to mix them all together and put together something that felt like me, except it really couldn't, because none of it was mine. And when I did finally post something, it was safe. I didn't say anything that might rock the boat or lose a potential prospect. I posted the kind of thing that blends into every other feed. I'm sure you know the posts. Motivational quote, the generic product highlight, captions that sound like everyone else on the team, and I wasn't even really showing up. I was just occupying space. And so here's the thing. If you're in network marketing and your content feels like this right now, I want you to know it's not because you were bad at this. The system that you were taught was not designed to make you stand out. It was designed for duplication. And network marketing is built on this concept, right? The idea is that if everyone on the team does the same thing, then it scales. Same scripts, graphics, same talking points, same system. Duplicate what works and then don't deviate. And honestly, for selling products, that approach can get some results. But when it comes to building a brand, like a real one, with a voice that people actually recognize and want to follow, duplication can be a trap, because here's what happens. Use their branding, lead with their product claims, tell people what the top earners said to say, and that means your content sounds exactly like the 40 other people on your team who are doing the same thing. There's no you in that system. There's no perspective, no lane, nothing that would make someone stop scrolling and think, this person really sees something I haven't seen before. And when you don't have a clear direction, when you're trying to be everything to everyone and scared to say anything specific or too bold in case it loses you a prospect, your content becomes hard to differentiate. So think about it this way. If you're posting from your company's talking points using their graphics, repeating what your upline says, whose audience are you actually building? Certainly not yours, right? You're just adding a brick to someone else's house. So here's what changed for me. And I'll be honest, it did not happen overnight. At some point, I got really fed up with the research spiral. I stopped trying to find the right person to model, and I started asking a different question. What do I actually want to talk about? What could I speak on for years? Not because it's trending, but because my upline does it, but because I genuinely care about it. And look, I get it. That is not an easy question. I have a lot of interests. I get distracted easily. Picking a lane felt like closing doors. But I had to accept something, and that is a narrower focus would actually build more traction than trying to be relevant to everyone. So I also realized that copying your upline or any online guru doesn't work unless you've already built trust with your audience. You can't start from someone else's voice and expect people to connect with you. You have to develop your own own perspective first. And the way I started doing that was kind of unglamorous. At the beginning of last year, I decided I was going to start a YouTube channel and go live for 30 days straight. No script, just an outline. I wore the same outfit every single time so that I wouldn't overthink it. I didn't do my hair. I just hit go live and nobody watched. And that was fine because the point wasn't the audience. The point was that I needed to start trusting myself, trusting my own voice before I could teach anyone else to trust theirs. And that action, imperfect, unsexy, 0 views, is what let me start building out exactly what I could teach. Not borrow, but my own. So what does it mean to have direction in your content? Because I'm not talking about just picking a lane, picking a niche topic and hammering it forever. Direction means knowing what you stand for, who you're talking to, and what you believe about your industry that most people in your industry won't say out loud. That's what gives your content a spine. And when you have that, you stop looking at everyone else's content for ideas because you're already full of your own. And you stop playing it safe because you're not trying to be everything. You're trying to be something specific. And specific is what will connect. So here's a really practical way to think about it. Say you're with a supplement company. The generic version of that is you post about health, energy, wellness, you share the product, and you sound like the other 40 people on your team doing the same thing. But what if instead of being a generic health practitioner, health promoter, you became the digestion expert or the woman who talks specifically about energy in midlife? And now the product isn't the point of your content, it is just the thing that fits naturally inside of it. Like you've built a lane and people follow you for your perspective, not just because you sell something. And that's the difference. The product is still there, you're just not leading with it. Instead, you are leading with something that actually makes people stop and think, okay, she gets it. The women I work with aren't bad at content. They were never bad at content. They just haven't figured out what that lane is yet. And nobody in their upline ever helped them find it. So here's what I want you to do before you leave. I would love for you to drop a comment and tell me, when you think about your content right now, does it feel like you? Or does it feel like a version of you that's been filtered through everyone else's approach? And you don't have to have it all figured out. That's not what I'm asking. I am just asking you to name it, because that's usually where the clarity starts. I'll be back in the next video with more on this topic, and I will see you then.